Hello. In this video, I'll be sharing the results of my FX automated trading EAs as of April 20th, 2026. My EA portfolio is still profitable overall, although it has recently gone through a drawdown. The total profit of the portfolio stands at $1,247. The current balance is $4,992. Even now, about 1 year after I started operating these systems, the portfolio as a whole is still maintaining a profit. Of course, that does not mean the results have been rising in a straight line the entire time. Recently, part of the accumulated profit has been given back. However, in EA trading, this kind of pullback is not unusual. In fact, no matter how promising a strategy may be, drawdowns are a normal part of the process when market conditions do not match the logic. There is no such thing as a holy grail in EA trading. That is why I believe it is important not to get overly excited or discouraged by short-term results, but to continue observing and evaluating performance calmly from a long-term perspective. Now, let's take a quick look at the results of the individual EAs. At the moment, the main drivers of profit in the portfolio are the gold-based EAs. At the top is Gold Galaxy Express. Its total gain is plus 351%. Its profit stands at $526. Next is Gold Overfishing EA. Its total gain is plus 134%. Its profit is $267. And then there is Gold Crab Robot, with a total gain of plus 125%. Its profit is $375, so it is still generating a strong return. These three are currently the most notable contributors to the portfolio's profit. On the other hand, there are also EAs that are profitable, but showing more moderate and stable results. For example, Multi-Currency Portfolio is up 38%. Fish Carp Robot is up 22%. Colorful Long-Tailed Tit EA is also still slightly in profit. At the same time, some EAs are continuing to struggle. Major pair EAs such as Flying Penguin EA and Forex Duck EA are still in negative territory at this point. Tiger Neon EA is also still in a difficult phase. So in short, the portfolio as a whole remains profitable. But when you look inside, there is now a clear gap between the EAs that are performing well and the ones that are struggling. There are three main points in this report. First, the overall portfolio is still profitable. Second, XAUUSD, in other words, gold, has been trading in a range throughout April 2026. Third, as a result of that market environment, performance has started to diverge even among the gold EAs, while the major pair EAs continue to struggle. Looking at Gold Crab Robot's recent trade history, it has been hit hard by this range-bound market over the past month, resulting in a series of losses. Whether it enters long or short, price often fails to move as expected, and many trades reverse soon after entry. It has been a very difficult environment for a trend-following EA. That said, I do not see this and immediately conclude that the logic has stopped working. Gold Crab Robot was originally designed to aim for larger price moves. Because of that, it tends to perform well when the market trends cleanly, but it also tends to struggle when the market lacks direction. In fact, although the EA has been under pressure recently, it is still profitable overall. So, I see the current situation as a period in which the EA's design and the market environment are not lining up especially well. Because XAUUSD has such large price swings, a string of losing trades can look especially dramatic. That is exactly why it is important not to react emotionally to a short losing streak, but to view it calmly as a mismatch between current market conditions and the characteristics of the EA. Next is Gold Galaxy Express. In the recent trade history of Gold Galaxy Express, there have been cases where it managed to avoid losses by exiting at break-even. In a range-bound market like this one, that behavior has worked relatively well and has helped prevent losses from expanding unnecessarily. However, this is also something that needs to be viewed carefully. Exiting at break-even does not always produce better results. In a clean trending market, moving to break-even too quickly can cause the EA to give up profits that it otherwise could have captured. In other words, this behavior happened to work well this time because the market was range-bound. That does not mean the behavior itself should always be considered the right answer. When evaluating an EA, It is not enough to ask whether it worked this time or failed this time. It is more important to understand what kind of market environment that logic is actually suited for. Gold Galaxy Express is functioning relatively well in the current range-bound market, but when the market returns to a stronger trend, different issues may appear. Next, let's talk about the major pair EAs. Major pair EAs such as Flying Penguin EA and Forex Duck EA, which are running on pairs like EURUSD and USD-JPY, have continued to struggle since live operation began in September 2025. At this point, they are still in negative territory, and purely from the numbers, the situation is clearly difficult. That said, these EAs were always intended to be evaluated over the long term, so at this stage, I do not plan to stop them. Depending on the EA, it is not unusual for a drawdown period to last not just several months, but even more than a year. Rather than judging them only by short-term results, my plan is to continue building a sufficient sample size and keep observing them over time, including how they interact with changing market conditions. Also, in portfolio management, it is not necessary for every EA to perform well at the same time. What matters more is whether weak periods in one EA can be offset by others. That is actually the more important point. And that is exactly what this portfolio is showing right now. Even while the major pair EAs are struggling, the gold-based EAs are supporting the overall profit. That is the current reality of this portfolio. Finally, let me summarize this report. As of April 20th, 2026, the overall EA portfolio is still profitable. The total profit is $1,247. The current balance is $4,992. However, the portfolio has recently gone through a drawdown. In particular, XAUUSD has been stuck in a range throughout April, which has created a difficult environment for trend-following and breakout-style gold EAs. Gold Crab Robot has been struggling after getting caught in the range-bound market. On the other hand, Gold Galaxy Express has benefited to some extent from its break-even behavior. The major pair EAs are also still under pressure. Even so, I do not intend to stop them based only on short-term performance. I plan to continue observing and evaluating them with a long-term operating perspective. Drawdowns are an unavoidable part of EA trading. What matters is not getting shaken by short-term weakness, but continuing to operate with a long-term view while organizing the relationship between each EA's characteristics and the current market environment. Going forward, I will continue publishing forward performance updates and keep evaluating these systems based on real live operation through both good periods and difficult ones. Thank you very much for watching. I will continue sharing updates on EA performance and testing results. So if you're interested, please check out the next report as well.